the psychology of modern dating, few things are as frustrating or confusing as trying to decode a man who is actively hiding his feelings. Men are often conditioned to shield their vulnerability, viewing the admission of longing or emotional dependency as a sign of weakness. Consequently, when a man misses you deeply, his initial instinct is rarely to pick up the phone and confess his feelings. Instead, he constructs a carefully managed facade of indifference, attempting to project an image of absolute independence, success, and detachment to protect his pride. However, human psychology and behavioral science prove that true emotions can never be entirely suppressed. No matter how determined a man is to keep his longing under wraps, his subconscious mind will inevitably betray his conscious efforts. His hidden desire will leak out through subtle shifts in his texting habits, highly controlled digital behaviors, involuntary body language cues, and sudden lapses in behavioral consistency when he is placed in your orbit. He enters a state of psychological warfare with himself. His ego demands that he play it cool, while his underlying attachment drives him to seek out your presence, your validation, and a connection to your life. Understanding these hidden patterns is the key to cutting through his silence and recognizing his true emotional state. When you know exactly what to look for, his seemingly cold or random actions transform into a clear roadmap of his internal struggle. By analyzing the subtle, undeniable shifts in how he communicates, how he acts in social settings, and how he inadvertently leaves a trail of his focus on you, you can easily read between the lines. Here are the 15 psychological signs that prove he misses you intensely, even when he is doing everything in his power to hide it. 1. The subconscious check-in. He texts you for no logical reason. When a man constantly misses you but wants to hide it, his impulse control eventually fails. He will reach out under the flimsiest pretexts, sending a random meme, asking a question he already knows the answer to, or forwarding a song that reminded him of something. There is no real logistical purpose to these messages. They are simply subconscious excuses to break the silence and gauge your reaction. By initiating contact over trivial matters, he successfully opens a line of communication without having to vulnerably admit that you have been dominating his thoughts. It allows him to test the waters safely. If you respond warmly, it feeds his need for connection. But if you seem distant, he can easily play it off as a casual, accidental interaction, keeping his pride completely intact. 2. The social media ghost. He is the first to watch your stories but never interacts. Silence on social media is rarely organic. Often, it is a highly calculated move. A man who is trying desperately to hide how much he misses you will intentionally avoid liking your photos or commenting on your updates because that leaves a visible, permanent paper trail of his lingering interest. Instead, he becomes a digital ghost. You will notice his name consistently, appearing at the very top of your story viewers list, often within mere minutes of you posting. He is actively keeping tabs on your life, craving a glimpse of your face, and monitoring who you are with. Yet he strictly refuses to engage. This passive observation allows him to feel connected to your daily routine and satisfy his intense curiosity, while safely maintaining his distant, unbothered facade. 3. The nostalgia trip. He randomly brings up old memories you shared. When a man is trying to suppress his feelings, his mind will naturally drift backward to safer, happier times. During casual conversations, he will suddenly pivot the topic to a shared inside joke, a specific vacation, or a funny mishap from your past. By framing his longing as a casual trip down memory lane, he bypasses the risk of admitting that he misses the present version of you. He disguises his current emotional dependency as mere nostalgia, saying things like, "Remember when we got lost in that rainstorm?" This tactic is a safe emotional bridge. It allows him to relive the warmth and intimacy of your bond without explicitly stating that he wishes those moments were still happening right now. 4. The accidental mention. His friends let slip that he still talks about you. A man can control his own behavior around you, but he cannot always control what leaks out to his inner circle. When he is missing you intensely, your name will inevitably slip into his everyday conversations with his closest friends, often completely unprompted. He might bring up your opinions, ask how you are doing, or compare new situations to things you used to do together. Because his friends see this constant fixation, they will accidentally let it slip when you cross paths with them. Hearing a mutual friend say, "He was just talking about that," or noticing they look at you knowingly is a massive giveaway. It proves that you remain a central topic in his private life. 5. The delayed response strategy. He takes hours to reply but writes long, Detailed paragraphs. When a man is hiding his feelings, texting becomes a psychological battlefield. If he replies instantly, he fears he will expose his desperation and show you how eagerly he was waiting by his phone. To combat this, he enforces a strict delayed response strategy, intentionally waiting hours to text back to seem occupied and detached. However, his true emotions completely betray him the moment he actually sends the message. Instead of giving short, dry answers that match his long delay, he sends massive, detailed paragraphs filled with questions, enthusiasm, and genuine effort. The sheer volume and depth of his text completely contradict the artificial delay, proving he is highly invested but trying to play hard to get. 6. The jealous god. He gets unusually quiet or defensive when other men are mentioned. A man trying to mask his feelings will lose his composure when another male presence enters the conversation. If you casually mention a male co-worker, a new friend, or a date, his immediate reaction will expose his hidden longing. Instead of responding normally, he might suddenly become incredibly quiet, offer short and cold replies, or change the subject entirely. Alternatively, he might mask his insecurity with subtle sarcasm or defensive remarks, trying to downplay the other person's significance. This sudden shift in energy happens because the thought of you moving on triggers a deep fear of losing you completely. He cannot openly express his jealousy without revealing his hidden feelings, so it manifests as a tense, uncomfortable withdrawal that speaks volumes about how much he secretly wants to be the only man occupying your attention. 7. The digital footprint. He likes and then quickly unlikes your older photos. When a man misses you but wants to keep it hidden, he will often spend his lonely moments scrolling deep into your social media feed. He revisits your old photos to feel close to you again, lingering on pictures from months or even years ago. In this state of hyper-focus, his thumb will inevitably slip, resulting in an accidental double tap on an ancient post. Realizing the massive giveaway he just committed, panic sets in, and he will instantly unlike the photo within seconds, hoping you will not notice. However, in the digital age, notifications are immediate. If you catch a fleeting notification that he liked an old picture, only to find it gone when you click, it is definitive proof that he is actively lurking in your past. 8. The drunk dial. Dilemma. His true feelings slip out only late at night. Alcohol behaves as the ultimate truth serum, stripping away the mental defenses and pride a man uses to hide his longing during the day. When he is sober, his logic and ego keep his feelings firmly locked down, allowing him to maintain his distant front. However, after a late night out with friends, those inhibitions completely crumble. You will suddenly receive a phone, call, or a flurry of emotional texts at 2 in the morning. He might ask what you are doing, tell you he is thinking about you, or express a level of vulnerability that he would never dare show in daylight. These late-night lapses in control are direct windows into his subconscious, proving that once his guard drops, you are the exact person he craves. 9. The eye contact code. He looks away instantly when you catch him staring. Body language is incredibly difficult to fake, and a man's eyes will always wander toward what he desires most. When you are in the same room, he will naturally find himself staring at you, admiring your smile, observing your movements, and silently wishing he was next to you. However, because he is determined to hide this longing, the moment your eyes meet his, panic triggers an immediate reaction. He will instantly snap his gaze away, look down at his phone, or abruptly start talking to someone else nearby. This jerky, unnatural avoidance of eye contact is a massive giveaway. A man who is truly indifferent will look at you casually and naturally. A man who hurriedly glances away is terrified that his eyes will betray his deepest secrets. 10. The changed routine. He suddenly starts showing up at your favorite spots. When a man misses you but is too proud or afraid to text you, he will manipulate his environment to create accidental encounters. You will suddenly start bumping into him at your favorite coffee shop, the gym you frequent, or the local grocery store where you always shop. These run-ins are almost never coincidental. He is intentionally altering his daily routine and going out of his way just to place himself in your orbit. By creating these artificial crossings of paths, he gives himself a casual, low-risk opportunity to see your face, hear your voice, and interact with you. It allows him to satisfy his intense longing while hiding behind the perfect excuse of convenient timing and pure coincidence. 11. The double standard. He claims he is too busy, but always finds time if you reach out. A man hiding his feelings will loudly advertise how busy, successful, and consumed he is with his own life. He creates this hectic persona to convince you and himself that he does not have the emotional space to miss anyone. However, the true test of his busy schedule occurs the exact moment you decide to send a text or ask to meet up. Despite his supposed mountain of work or packed weekend, he will instantly clear his schedule, reply promptly, or magically become available to see you. This massive contradiction reveals that his busy life is merely a defensive shield. In reality, he has been sitting by the phone waiting for an opening, and the second you provide one, his desire to connect completely overrules his need to appear detached and unbothered. 12. The sentimental holdout. He still keeps the small gifts or items you gave him. When a man is trying to purge someone from his mind, he usually removes the physical reminders of that person from his living space. But if he is secretly missing you, those items become sacred relics he refuses to part with. You might notice he still wears the casual hoodie you bought him, uses the keychain you gifted, or keeps a small, seemingly insignificant trinket you left behind on his desk. He will not mention these items to you, and if asked, he will offer a practical excuse like, "It's just a good hoodie." In truth, these physical belongings serve as an emotional anchor. Holding on to them gives him a tangible connection to your past presence, allowing him to quietly comfort his longing without having to verbally admit it. 13. The high energy shift. He acts overly happy or flexes his lifestyle when you are around. If you happen to be in the same social setting, a man who misses you will often put on an elaborate performance. Instead of acting normal, his energy levels will skyrocket the moment you walk into the room. He will suddenly start laughing louder, telling dramatic stories to the group, or subtly flexing his recent achievements, fitness progress, or lifestyle upgrades. This loud behavior is a desperate attempt to capture your attention without making direct contact. He is trying to project an image of absolute happiness and fulfillment to prove he is doing amazing without you. Ironically, the sheer amount of forced energy he expends just to look unbothered completely exposes how deeply he cares about your perception and how much he misses your validation. 14. The lingering goodbye. He stretches conversations just to avoid saying goodnight. When you are engaging in a casual text conversation or phone call with him, pay close attention to how the interaction concludes. A man who does not miss you will eagerly wrap up the chat when things slow down. However, a man who is hiding his longing will desperately try to keep the conversation on life support. Just as the chat seems to naturally end, he will suddenly ask a completely new, open-ended question, bring up a random news topic, or send another meme to revive the interaction. He is terrified of the silence that follows a goodbye because that is when his loneliness sets back in. By stretching out the dialogue, he delays the painful transition of returning to a reality where he is not actively talking to you. 15. The unspoken body language. His body completely faces you even when he is acting distant. A man can carefully filter his spoken words and consciously manage his text messages, but his physical anatomy will always surrender to his true subconscious desires. When you are in the same room or sitting at a group table, he might maintain a cold, quiet attitude and avoid speaking directly to you. However, if you look down at his posture, you will notice a glaring contradiction. His torso, his shoulders, and specifically his feet will be angled directly toward you. In body language psychology, this alignment is an involuntary primitive response. We naturally point our bodies toward the person we desire or miss the most. Even while his mouth plays a game of cool indifference, his physical stance completely betrays his hidden urge to be close to you.